What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. Then K.L.P in the morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, y'all know what time it is. We back here in the studio. Welcome to the K.L.P in the morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas and
Evelyn, LeTeshia.
Back, look, this is the running joke. She's here.
In the studio.
In the studio, y'all. So, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome. If you guys seen last week's episode, thank y'all so very much. We had so many great topics. Evelyn, I ran through the rant time of last episode. It was an hour and 20.
Because we be talking.
We be talking.
Yeah.
And a lot of y'all be loving it. So thank y'all for staying tuned for this week's podcast. I got to get the sponsors out of the way.
Yes.
When we saw the episode last time, I meant to do the sponsors at the beginning. We didn't.
Yeah.
The first sponsor goes out to ProMed Consulting. Again, that is our ProMed Consulting company. We consult in mobile wound care. So if you know somebody that is having a hard time with their wounds getting healed, we're the people that you can call. We're going to have the website in the link description below for YouTube, Spotify, and also on Amazon Live as well. So you guys can check that out. And the second one goes out. Oh, and second one goes out to Kennedy Lucas Films.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but my two new movies are out on Prime Video right now. The Photographer, Street Style Forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's available. The story of John Kenton. He's the photographer, full-time teacher, and he is exposing Swankville with pollution. It's a very educational movie. My first ever Pixar type film. Street Style Forever was filmed this past Fashion Week in February of this year, and now it is officially released on Prime Video. You guys can follow me as I follow through the journeys of New York and New York Fashion Week. Two great movies. So again, Evelyn, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm super proud of you. You got your stuff. Like,
Thank you.
I'm sitting over here like a little proud auntie. Like,
Thank you.
I'm fabulous.
You good? I see you doing your thing. I know this was about a week and a half ago now, but you're doing, flag football.
Oh, yeah.
You're stage manager.
Yes.
You got a lot of things going. Evelyn, let me tell y'all, she busy. All right.
Booked and busy.
She booked and busy. So she came down to the studio and said, hey, we got to do another. The last episode was good. So we got to do this again. You got time to squeeze in. So see you doing your thing. And I'm glad that you're doing really, really well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
For that as well. And it's the flag football for me.
Child. I caught, I think I was rushing like 10, 15 yards of that. I play center, because I told him up front, I was like, look, I'm still trying to get my back and knees together from the last car accident I had. So I was like, put me somewhere where I ain't gonna be doing a whole lot up front too fast. So I play center, but I also one of the backup quarterbacks, and I'm also one of the receivers.
Uh-huh.
So, and I ended up catching like 30-yard pass, like a route I ran, and they wasn't ready. I told K.P, I said, look, wherever I can catch. I did get almost called on a penalty, though, because I am a rugby player. I played rugby in college, for women's rugby for Clemson University.
Oh, wow.
So when I get the ball, my immediate thing when you coming to me is want to stiff arm the heck out of you. And so I caught the ball at one point, and I did this. He said, hey. After like they pulled my flag, the ref said, all right, that's your warning. No hands. Because I said,
You're in it.
And the dude on the other team, shout out to him, because I was like, how he peeped this? But he was like, you played rugby. And I said, how you know? I said, you don't be knowing about me. I be talking trash during the game, y'all. Yeah. When they be calling out the people's names on the other team, I'm like, y'all watch Kenya. Watch Kenya. Because they said Kenya about to run.
That's funny. That's so funny.
That is me on the field.
I've seen that because a lot of people know I've done production in sports. And I hear the other team calling out one of the team on the other team, like, hey, watch her, watch her, go. And it's so interesting because they know that. But I had no idea you played rugby.
Yeah.
Did you do on a scholarship or?
No, I actually, you know what? I went to Clemson and I had never played rugby a day in my life. I think it was the summer after my senior year of high school. I was up late one night and like ESPN2 or something was on.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a sport on, which I thought for the longest it was rugby. But it turns out it was Australian football, which the football kind of looks like rugby ball and everything, but it's a different sport altogether. But my freshman year of college, my roommate, she was going to this interest meeting. I said, where you going? She said, I'm going to this rugby interest meeting. I said, oh, I think I watched it on TV once. I ain't had nothing to do, so I said, I'll go. Because on the flyer, it was like, you didn't need any experience. We'll teach you all the rules, all that kind of stuff. And I know, look, this thickness man, I got y'all food thinking I ain't, but I am a natural athlete. If you teach me the rules, I will master that sport. Like, so I'm good at basketball, softball, tennis. And I went to the rugby meeting, ended up going to practice. They taught me the rules. And from that point forward, I was literally beasting out there. And they would often stop me and say, you sure you ain't never played before? And I was like, yeah, I just have the acuity of basketball and the agility of this and that, so that's how it happened.
So
and
you play softball too?
I play softball. I play fast pitch softball. Yeah, I've been playing sports since I was 3. I started with T-ball,
athletic.
coach's pitch, I did a lot of travel ball, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
The only sport that I played, baseball.
Baseball?
I used to
You used to
I
knock
was a
it.
hitter and a right fielder.
Okay.
And I love baseball today, obviously. Still love it. But it was such a different world when you're actually playing the sport because you're actually out there. And when my first few games, I wasn't that great because I'm just now getting into it. But then I got a little bit better, and then every time I hate hitting because every time the pitcher always hits me, like either on the neck or on the chest or in the back, I'm getting hurt this game. Especially when we're playing another team that we know, because I've had a lot of my other old friends that played baseball that played on another team. And what was funny, they were on another team that was like the super elite team because they got this person, they got that person, this person's super athletic. Then my team, we were all right. We weren't super duper good, but we were okay. So when we're going against that other team, we're like, oh, yeah, Kenny about to be hurt again. Yeah. They going to throw it at him. He about to be hurt again from this game. That was the running joke, but baseball is my love, and then softball. So I obviously didn't play softball, but I've produced and record softball games before, and I have quite a few friends that play softball. So every time I see a softball.
What's crazy is that as great as I was in softball, when I got to Clemson, they did not have a women's softball team.
Interesting.
They ended up getting one like a year or two after I graduated.
That's smart, yeah.
Like then they got a D1 team there now, but it was not there. And in fact, when I was at Clemson and playing rugby, I kept getting letters from the rowing team. They wanted me to come row. Like, some days when I get up, my knees don't be wanting to act right. I'm like, see that? I should have been rowing. Out there tackling and running. I should have been on the rowing team. Yeah. But softball, I played every position up until high school. By the time I got to varsity, I was then in the outfield. But I played every position. Catcher didn't last long. I could catch the ball. But as soon as they swung that bat, I don't know, I blinked too fast. I would stop it, but I would drop the ball. I did pitching a few times, but the base I played for the longest amount of years was third base. And third base, if you ever played third base in fast pitch softball, third base is the closest person to the plate. Like, you're further up than the pitcher, so you know how fast your reaction time got to be when the ball is hit. And I didn't realize just how good I was at third base until I ain't played it in a few years, like a long time. Like, because when I got to varsity, I moved up to varsity like my freshman year of high school, I think. And I went to the outfield because we had seniors, a lot of seniors and upperclassmen in the infield. But I went in the outfield, but I had a great arm. I played center field. I was catching anything that you pop out there. And if I had to run it down, I was throwing you out from outfield all the way to home plate. That's how great my arm was. But a few years back, we had an alumni game. And I said, I ain't played third base in years. I'm gonna play third base. That lasted one inning. Cause soon as they hit that ball, I said, oh shoot, I forgot how close I am. I ain't played third base in a long time. I forgot. And like back then, we didn't have face covers and all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, you see both collegiate and you see recreational sports. They got these face protective masks thing. Child, we ain't had that. If you ain't stopped that ball, your face would. Yeah. Like, I did that one, like the alumni game, I played third base for one inning. I said, let's go ahead and sub somebody over here because I can't do this. Because every time the bat hit the ball, I was like, shoot, I forgot how close I played. I said, put back in the outfield, y'all. Put back there, coach.
So when I played, we ain't gonna have it because this was years ago. We ain't gonna have alumni for when I played ball, but I've seen it at GGC where a lot of the coaches would do the alumni games, and I peeped our GGC softball team that came back for alumni because some of the ladies I know, I filmed their interviews and filmed their games, and we followed them on social media, whatever. And to see some of the alumni, I was like, oh yeah, she's getting married. Oh, she has a kid. Oh,
yeah.
And to see them, they did little videos, and to see that some of them still got it.
Yeah.
But then some are like, oh yeah, I can't. I have a kid now. I can't do this.
I still had it. I could hit the ball, and that's one thing my dad used to always say when he was coming to my games. He's like, how you hit that ball? I said, Daddy, I'm gonna be honest. I literally, and this is why I thought I was a superhero because of my vision. I could see whenever she would wind up and come around, I literally could track the ball and slow it down my eyesight to hit the bat. And I'm a switch hitter, so I hit from the left and the right. Even though I'm predominantly left-handed, and I throw right-handed mainly because my coaches over time forced me. But I used to catch and throw left-handed. Oh, wow. But I switched from both sides, and
that's a talent.
I was like, I just can slow the ball down as it's coming. And I still do go to the batting cages. We got a Frankie's Fun Park like 10 minutes from my house. So I still go to batting cages. But I could slow the ball down as it's coming. That's why you can get the bunt around, and I can place the ball wherever I want it based off of how I turn my hips and where I face my feet. But just no more third base. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get some real good training back on third because every time that bat hit, I was like, I'm too close for this. What Danny Glover used to say in the Lethal Weapon, and I don't know if you ever seen those. He was like, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
That was me.
And then my guy, he's on the show called Your Honor, but I use his meme a lot. When someone had me like, she.
Yeah, she. The mayor. She.
But, and then there's quite a few of my friends that I follow that were pitchers. One girl in particular, and I'll put on, shout out to Taylor Hansis, pitcher at GGC. She's getting married too.
Shout out Taylor.
One thing for her, she would pitch, and I guess I'll ask, since you did pitching, does it sorry Taylor, but she would grunt like it hurts. Does it hurt to pitch when
it doesn't hurt? That grunt that you're hearing a lot of times is an exhale. Oh. So it's kind of like, when you're working out in the gym, and you know how you're trying to get that one extra, you may inhale when you come down, but you exhale to get that extra push out, that makes sense. So that's what it basically is. Like you're taking a deep breath, and when you let it out, it's like a exhale of air. That's what it basically is. Okay. And you got some pitchers who will do the windmill all the way around, and you got some who will just go all the way back and then let it fly. Let it go. So just whatever but that's what you're hearing. That grunt is like air being released, like an extra push. Gotcha. And it's kind of like the same way if you're doing yoga. And I have friends who are yoga instructors and stuff. Shout out Whitney.
Hey Whitney.
I'll see you this. Yeah, I'll see you this Saturday. There's a flow festival in Charlotte at the National Whitewater Center that I'm going to on Saturday. But even with yoga, whenever you're stretching and you like, oh, I ain't gonna be able to touch my toes, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, you'll feel your body be able to shift even further down. Cause like, you'll feel it. That there's something about letting breath out gives you that extra push. But that's what you're hearing is that grunt of air coming out. Yeah.
Cause I always, cause we and like one game was loud and she grunted really loud. Yeah. I was like, Taylor, is she okay? Yeah. That I don't know what that is, but obviously she's fine. Yeah. But
and it sounds different from person to person. Like I've heard some people go, oh, and I'm like, girl.
I'll be, if I was your question, like, hey, don't.
Like you get it,
especially in tennis too.
Yeah. Like tennis, I didn't realize how much I grunted until like somebody showed me a video, and you hear it a lot with Serena and them playing. Yeah. Yo! Whoopsie!
Because it's true. I hear it. Back when I used to film tennis and stuff. Like, why is it like that?
What if somebody did that? Whoopsie!
That's not like somebody would do.
don't mind us. We goofy. But that's why you here. Man. That's why you like to watch. That's why you like to listen, because we goofy. Yeah. It's all real here. I promise you.
I can't wait to look at this playback. But yeah, no, I hear it a lot with grunting in sports. I always wanted to know that as pitchers, and it makes sense for tennis too.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the same kind of concept.
It's like a power, like that exhale gives you a power.
Because I do that too.
Yeah.
Right? I do that. And mine is pretty loud.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to not be so loud in the gym because I sometimes cuss too. Because it just comes out natural.
Yeah.
Like when I start cussing. And then like people like, you all right? You all right? Like, yeah, I'm good.
Don't be at Planet Fitness. They'll do that little alarm on you.
Yeah, it's a little pump. I'm just pumping up right now. I gotta get it out. So speaking of pumping it out, Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
A lot with Dr. Bryant.
Yeah.
And that's been a topic of conversation. So Dr. Bryant with the latest interview that she's done with Nick Cannon, and having that interview with Nick Cannon, and we all know Nick Cannon has, a
12.
whole team, a whole softball team.
A whole softball team.
So that's the first topic of conversation.
Yeah.
And Cam Newton's reactions. Saw the interview. Do you think it was a little bit more hostile of him coming into the interview, and he had a lot to say on social media? Or?
Yeah, like, and we're not going to rehash the interview. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube still. From his was it Funky Fridays, like his podcast, interview podcast. So it's there if you want to see it. But mainly what we want to talk about is just I honestly feel that Cam Newton came into that interview on the defensive. And again, Nick Cannon's interview had already previously happened. And Dr. Bryant, mind you, this ain't some woman that's just calling herself doctor. Like how some people walk around, I'm Dr. Love, I'm Dr. this, I'm Dr.
Feel good.
Yeah, and they ain't got no degree, no nothing. This woman is truly specialized in the field that she does with over 17 years of experience, and she's a therapist. Let's start there for one. But the way Cam opened up that interview, it seemed to me that he had already watched the Nick Cannon interview and saw the feedback and people going in kind of in the comments, and that it almost like he had an agenda that, she ain't gonna come over here and do this to me. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up. And then what he ended up showing us was just how low vibrational he is, and how low his emotional intelligence was. And the way that she was able to break things down, I feel like he was being quite like defensive and disrespectful to her in a lot of that interview. Yeah. The one that really made me punch the air is when he told her, he's like, I got a psychology degree too. And I was like, I know we ain't going to compare that degree that you got with them classes, and when you was an athlete at Auburn. We ain't gonna act like
take those classes.
We ain't gonna act like you probably we ain't gonna act like you went to every class and did every project. Like I went to school with some athletes. There were some people going to class for them, doing work for them. Let's start there. But you're not gonna put your degree on the same level of this woman who's been doing this for 17 plus years. Yeah.
That's a resume. If you've done something,
she don't just have a degree in it. Like you got the basic form of degree. Yeah. Like you got your bachelor's in it. But this woman has gone to the doctorate level, which means there's a lot of research, a lot that's going into this. So when he said, I was like, I know darn well he ain't just tried to put himself in the same plane as what this woman does. And Dr. Bryant, bless her heart, she held her own, and she didn't take the bait, because I felt like Cam is used to gaslighting women and people in general who take the bait, and then he goes, see? Gotcha. But she was able to, she saw it coming a mile away. And I feel like he came into that interview very defensive, and that's how it came all across the entire interview for me. It's like he was so closed off. The Nick Cannon interview, one that I can say is he seemed much more open to hear, even if he didn't fully agree with everything Dr. Bryant would say, he was much more open to hear
her out, at least,
what she was trying to inform him on. Cam was kind of closed off and defensive from jump. Yeah. And just kind of dismissive in certain ways. And I'm just like, wow. And then when he uploaded it, I think he believed it would have went a different way than what it did.
What it did.
You had men and women. Because you know how, as of late, the last few years, is this man versus woman thing all the time. Just who's got it worse and who's more valuable in society, like that all the time, back and forth. It gets nauseating. This the one time I was looking at these comments. The men and women were on the same page, same accord. Agreed that Cam was out of pocket. That so much is going on, and even the men who have multiple children by multiple women were able to also say, because Dr. Bryant put it, she didn't try to demean anybody. She was just basically stating, like, no matter how great of a parent you are, even providing financial support, you still have yourself split so many ways that those kids are going to be like very limited. And I was so appreciative to see certain men in the comments saying, yeah, she was definitely talking to me, and I fully understand and accept what she was saying, because I got 5 of my own, and even though I provide for them, it is hard because I can't be there, in every household. And if I had to do it again, I would have did it differently. I saw so many men say that. So if I give Cam any big ups, it's for uniting men and women. You did that, Cam. Baby, they was going in on your head.
I think, and it is hard because I'm putting our family in this light too, because with my parents, there's 5 of us, right? And yes, my parents clothed us, fed us, bathed us, and gave us what we necessarily needed. Sometimes it's been the case where we wanted something we necessarily did, but then again, my parents somehow make it to where we get what we want to. But it is true that parents with multiple kids, it is hard to split your time because all of these different kids have different personalities, different things they like to do, different themes. So you got to really, it's almost like switching, right? Yeah. You're switching it to Sally Sue that likes, if you're young kids, they like Barbie dolls, you play with them, but then you got Jimmy John that likes action figures and video games. So you got to nurture
their separate personalities and everything.
You do. So I also agree with you. You have to, I think with men and women, you got to be willing to hear people out. Yeah. Right. It's not necessarily a bashing or, hey, I'm just going to destroy you in this and bash you in this because this is what you're doing. Hear these people out because there's a reason for it. I think we talked about it last week's episode. I was talking about my brother. They give me advice. If I've done something wrong, they give me advice. I hear them out because it might be something beneficial for me. And I think it goes a long way in the world when you hear people out and they explain their meanings and they try to talk to you in a calmful way and try to understand and try to get you to sort of understand their reasoning. Then it would make for a good interview. It is hard. Now, for me personally, Cam, 8, Nick Cannon with 12, Cam with 8. I don't know how y'all do that.
Y'all can have it.
Y'all can keep that. That I ain't about that life, right? But you have to make it work within all of your children, but it's hard. You can't occupy them all at one time.
And that's not to say that parents who have multiple children in the same household don't go through some of that. But what you're trying to say is it's a lot more inclusive when they're in the same environment. And Cam did say that all his children live with him, but then she asked him, do all of the mothers live with you? And he said no. So they still are going in and out, back and forth over here and there.
They gotta see their mama too.
Yeah. And I think, and another thing, I don't know if you know his current, the mother of his current newborn, who is Just Jazzy. I think that's her name, Just Jazzy. But I remember watching her on Facebook was where I first saw her. And she was like a content creator in those earlier, YouTube days. Yeah. And one of the things she would always talk about is the type of dudes that, you shouldn't date. And she would kind of go in sometimes on the women who date these men with multiple baby mamas and all that kind of stuff. All that just for her to be one, right? And so people have been going in on her. But one of the most disrespectful things that I think people noted in this interview was when Cam said, I got 8 and I'm looking, I want to have more. And he said he was still looking for his wife. You have a current woman that just had your baby, and you on a national platform where you got millions of viewers, and you say I'm still looking for your wife. Oh, Jesus. If I'm your woman and I just push your baby out, and you say that you still looking for your wife,
nah, that's a divorce right there. When did she sign a prenup? Because Cam rich now.
But they're not even married though. That's the point. But you just had this baby for this man who's not even considering you. Yeah. as the wife that he needs.
Interesting.
So that was a topic of discussion for people too.
Wow.
Like, dang, I would
That's
feel
kinda- I
this
don't know,
little if
that's
I
kinda
just push your
reckless.
baby out and you on a platform talking about you still looking for a wife.
And want more kids too.
And
What if
want
she
more
didn't
kids.
What if your girlfriend didn't want more kids? Huh?
I was just like, wow.
Wow.
Ooh. But that was my commentary. I just felt like the whole interview, he was very much on the defensive and throwing jabs at her.
Yeah.
And bless her heart that, she has the level of emotional intelligence to not be gaslit by that. And she just kept it classy and very professional.
Yeah.
Very. Because I know some sisters would have been like, who you talking to?
Yeah.
I know
Some
darn
other-
well you.
yeah.
Like, someone went in on Cam.
Yeah.
Like,
And it goes to show that Dr. Bryan, she can, keep her composure because it's not, doing what she does as a doctor, she's making money, right?
Yeah.
But now you're on platforms, you're going to get booked for more platforms. And if networks show that you can keep it cool, you're going to get booked
yeah.
elsewhere too. There's hundreds of other podcast shows, hundreds of other networks out there that she can get booked on to talk about her experience. It's almost like, not trying to compare, but it's like Candace Owens, right? We all know who Candace Owens is, but I've seen her lately going on different platforms and different networks because now, being in the political side of things, now she's growing and doing a lot of other events and going through different other podcast shows too. So I think that Dr. Bryant has that way now that that's kind of like the hookup. And then now after this interview, she's going to pivot and go somewhere else on the different platforms as well. But I do hope that Cam figures this thing out. I don't know about still looking for the wife.
Yeah.
But with a current
hopefully until he gets out of ego and really open himself up to more self-awareness and really looking at hopefully he looks at the comments.
Yeah.
Everybody can't be watching this for the most part. Everybody can't be watching this and men and women on the same page say, hey, you were dismissive of her, you were rude of her, you weren't listening, you were defensive. But Cam also has been in a position where he's been this big time superstar and had all this money for years. Like, sometimes I think once you get to that level, you quit being open to hearing from other people. And the day that you think that you're beyond learning anything new, you've already missed the mark. Yeah. Because each day you wake up is another opportunity to grow beyond what you were yesterday. And the second you say, oh, I know it all. I got this on lock. You can't tell me nothing.
There's a lot of people who are billionaires that still don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I'm like, teach me.
Like,
I'm forever trying to learn to be the best version of myself. I will always say that I'm always trying to learn to be the best version of myself. And whether it's an adult who's older than me, whether it's my niece who's one, things that go on teaches us something. And if you're not open to receive that, your growth is going to stay stagnant right here. Yeah. So that then when you have a Dr. Bryan on who can teach you something, elevate you come across as a man-child. Because your growth is stunning, because you think you know everything, and that's what he came across as to me.
There's a lot of man-childs out here in this world. I seen it on Facebook about a lot of these man-childs that it's just like, and they're grown adults, and they're just like, oh, I don't know. I just get so irritated because it's like I'm only 28 and I have more maturity than some of these 35 man-childs out there in the world. I saw this one video this morning. Facebook, they were newly engaged, and he left the room because homegirl farted in public, and he lost his shit. I'm like, dude, come on now. And he really just portrayed like a whole attitude about it. I'm like, okay, man, child, you good. And then she was like, no, please, why you leaving? Like, nah, honey, don't beg. You ain't got to beg at this point.
Yeah,
so don't like it. Now, I was gonna say, speaking of man child, because DJ Vlad, let me tell you, he's hold on.
Some of y'all might know this, and some of y'all don't.
Top story.
Let's do it.
K.L.P has all the topics, stories, and gossip. It is now time for our top story from K.L.P.
All right, top story. Now, DJ Vlad, look, I've watched DJ Vlad content for a while. I'm starting to kind of, and there's no hate on DJ Vlad in itself, because I get it. It's media. He has media company. I get the media aspect of it. I just kind of felt that he's kind of, he's kind of looking. There's two ways for him. Some of his content is just kind of like, hey, let's get you on here because you're promoting something. And I hate it when in media companies, they got to make a quota. I get it. But I like it when celebrities come on these type of content, not only for, if you're promoting something, sure, but like getting to the nitty and gritty. So Marlon Wayans went on DJ Vlad's.
Shout out to the Wayans dynasty.
Wayans. There was a thing on social media with the brothers and how much they make. And they don't really get a whole lot of great respect that they deserve.
Not at all.
Honestly, in my opinion, because you've got these brothers and sister, right? There's sister Kim. I thought they have two sisters, or just
they got more than one sister, but Kim is the one that's been with them more collectively on that the entertainment side.
Okay, so there's Kim, and then you got Keenan,
Damon, Marlon,
and that's it.
And was it 5? Did we say all of them? Damon, Sean, Marlon, and Kim. That's 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So again, the Wayans brothers dynasty, they need more credit than what they deserve. Not only they gave us great iconic movies like White Chicks. That's one of the
Scary
iconic
Movie
ones, right?
1 and 2.
But then you got what's the Keenan did this one
In Living Color.
Living Color. There it is.
Which propelled a lot of people's careers.
Made a lot of people's career. Marlon Wayans goes on DJ Vlad and felt disrespected and called DJ Vlad out for some of the stuff that DJ Vlad was doing currently and sort of in the present. And he exposes DJ Vlad on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay interview. And I saw clips and little bits and pieces of that interview, and Marlon Wayans went in. Yeah. It's so interesting because Marlon Wayans been in a lot of like Club Shay Shay. He was just on the Breakfast Club. He was on the Breakfast Club 3 times already this year alone. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see Marlon Wayans. Shout out to him too, because have you watched Bel Air?
I haven't seen the newest one.
So the newest Bel Air, this season.
But I do know one of the producers. Shout out to Nambi. Hey, Nambi Kelly. Yes.
Marlon Wayans, in particular, and Keenan and Damon and Sean too, but Marlon Wayans, because he's been acting a little bit more than what I've seen. He's been in the acting a little bit more. Yeah. He's been in the latest movie, Damon and Ben Affleck, Air. Yeah. Very, very good. But in Bel Air, he plays Will Smith's dad, Lou. Okay. And to see from him being a comedic actor and act to more of a serious type role, it's mind blowing to me. Yeah. And then to me, it shows that Marlon Wayans has different styles of acting, and he can really dap his foot into both. Yeah. Because when the Wayans brothers came out, we think, okay, they're comedic acts. They're making a lot of money, but they're doing parodies and goofy movies. Like, that's them. But to really see them branch out, especially with Marlon now taking more serious roles. Yeah,
and I would say this, and I guess I noticed because I'm a little bit older, not much, but a little bit. But Marlon has done a lot of dramatic work over the years, but again, it gets overshadowed because he's a comedian, and people are so used to him being funny and like he's great at physical comedy. We saw that a lot in the Wayans brothers. Like he would fall on the floor and just start, doing something. That I think the dramatic stuff has been overlooked in the past few years. But on this side, and the man's 52 now, I think people see the much more mature Marlon on this side. So now they're paying attention more to his dramatic roles. But he's been doing the drama stuff, and he has a great range. If you ever truly go back and just watch some of his stuff as it progresses, he's a great actor.
And there's a lot of things. So it's just that terminology, what's done in the dark, kind of comes to the light. I feel like Marlon Wayans, along with a lot of other people, like we seen him on Club Shay Shay, and then you had Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay, and Cat was just like spilling the tea, like getting things out. And then now Marlon is starting to give us some knowledge and then give us a background with the brothers, and then starting to spill some things that we kind of didn't know until now. You have this platform to kind of really spill the beans when it comes down to it. I think Marlon, along with a lot of people, when they're sharing a lot of things that was done in the dark come to light, I think this is the society that we're in, that a lot of people are expanding and telling the truths about what happened in the past, right? A lot of people are coming forward with a lot of stuff that really gets us excited as content creators and listeners, but then it sheds a lot of bad blood in the industry. Would you agree?
I do agree with that. And just for clarification, because I think you said he went on Vlad. Vlad actually reached out to him for him to come onto his show. Okay. And the stipulations that Marlon gave him was $40,000 for the interview. Okay. Yeah, plus a percentage of all the revenue that he generates from that particular episode. And Vlad felt like that was too much. Gotcha. So Vlad was in a second interview because he never. Sorry, folks. Didn't know that part. That's okay. He never got to. That's why I'm here. Yeah. He never got to the interview with Marlon, but then he ended up doing a interview with Aries Spears, and he brings this up to Aries, like, and basically says, that dude ain't worth those $40,000 and percentage of all of my revenue that we get, that we would generate, and he was also basing that on the Breakfast Club viewership. And like you said, he'd been on there 2 or 3 times this year. Yeah. So it may not be a peak episode because people have already seen him and thought maybe he was promoting the same thing or whatever. But that was where the disrespect came in at, is for you to downplay, Marlon as if he ain't a part of this dynasty that has cemented classics in our culture. Like, not just film and television in general, but in the Black culture, cemented some classics. And, Aries was sitting there talking to him. Most people don't give Aries any flack. But Aries could have very much said a lot more, in support of this, of Marlon and stuff like that, too. But he pretty much was in agreement with, Vlad that 40,000 too much, blah, blah, blah.
Which is crazy because you're DJ Vlad. Yeah. Vlad Media, right? So it brings me back to another point that I've mentioned. Do you think media companies are losing their revenue, losing money? Because I've also seen it to where when during COVID, a lot of these podcasters are getting sponsored their show, and a lot of people getting money to fund their show. And now all of these podcast shows that were great, they're getting canceled. Yeah. And now that brings me to the thought, like, hey, is DJ Vlad, are you losing? Because I think Marlon Wayans is worth it. Yeah, you have other small podcast shows. And
you heard all those gems in history we got? Yeah. Just for him being on Club Shay Shay?
Club Shay Shay? No, I'm not granted. Club Shay Shay, I mean, that's ESPN money too. So,
yeah. But no, Club Shay Shay, he's the sole proprietor of the show. That's his show. He owns that show. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Like, so that, I think that show is separate from what he does with Stephen A. with ESPN. Like, Club Shay Shay is his. And it's, when it comes on, you will hear him say, I'm welcome to Club Shay Shay. I'm the sole proprietor of he
does say that. Okay.
Yeah, that's his show. He owns.
Big money. What? Then Shannon Sharp, big money too.
Yeah, so you can imagine how much money the Cat Williams and everybody after that has made.
From that. But I kind of feel like a lot of, I don't want to say small podcasts because Joe Budden podcast is not small, but Joe Budden spends a lot for a guest, like a big guest to come on the show.
Because your return on your investment is going to be worth it. And that's what confuses, that's what's ironic about Aries Spears basically not like digging more into Vlad about, Marlon being worth it. Because on another episode that he had with Aries Spears, they were talking about hip hop and the #1 song. It was like one of the 90s songs. And Vlad was trying to tell Aries, like, no, that wasn't the song. Aries like, no, this was the song. And they looked it up, and Aries was white. And Aries said to him, I don't told you don't know about black, like, quit trying to think you know everything about black people. Aww. Like, so there was already a previous thing that happened where Aries called him out about thinking he knows black culture. Right. When you just basically, you're like, inside, but you ain't inside the circle. Like, you don't know everything. Quit trying to speak on all the black issues that you don't know about. So I was kind of like disappointed that Aries didn't speak more about, Marlon is definitely worth it. Yeah, and Vlad has had to come back now and say, you know what? Yeah, I misstepped. Like, but that's my bad. And all this kind of stuff. But I think he is losing viewership. because more and more black people are saying like, quit watching his stuff, don't go over there, quit supporting it.
Especially
He the feds,
for
he
black
12.
culture, you got Cam Newton's show, right? You've got Breakfast Club, Joe Budden, like you got and Rory and Maul. You got all of those other podcast shows that are just authentically, a hip hop black culture type show. So then you kind of go towards those podcast shows, and then you stop watching Black, because I think he's losing that viewership. That way it may not warrant, hey, cannot pay you $40,000, right, and royalty and funding from the viewership from that special episode. I think Marlon Wayans is worth it, honestly.
I do too.
If I had 40 grand, obviously we ain't got, not yet anyway.
Yeah.
But I would.
But if you want to sponsor us so we can get there,
for sure,
we would take it.
Yes, we will take it. But like I say, Marlon Wayans is another. He's another breed. It's another thing. I am a big fan of his serious acting. Like it's good. The White Chicks and Little Man and all those movies, those were good. But I like to see him in more serious roles, because Marlon Wayans is a very fantastic actor, in my opinion. I want to see Sean come back in acting.
And he gave Sean his props, because even though Sean is not acting, that's one thing I love about the Wayans brothers. They always make sure to give reverence to each other when they're in interviews. And Marlon talked about how underrated Sean is as a writer, that a lot of the movies that you see that they did together, Sean was the creative genius that came up with it. And actually, Sean was the one that got him to writing and making sure it's in the right format and stuff like that. I love that he gave Sean that kind of shout out.
I love it.
I love the loyalty they have amongst each other, because he talked about, John Witherspoon. They had met John when they were younger. And then when it came time for them to do their show, they wanted him to be the dad. And I think he said NBC didn't want him, that they considered him too ghetto. And it was like, if you replace the father, we'll greenlight your show. And it's like, we're not replacing the dad. So that's why they didn't go to NBC. They didn't. Yeah. They ended up going to the WB that was just starting. And that kind of was a great launching pad for that network and for the show. Because I can't see the Wayans Brothers show without John Witherspoon.
I can't.
I can't.
You can't.
I think he even said that or I read it, that at one point NBC wanted Danny Glover, and I think Danny Glover is a phenomenal actor, but I can't see him in that role. That role was made for John Witherspoon.
Yeah, because as a comedian, like I don't see Danny Glover. I don't see him being because this was a comedy show.
Yeah.
Right, and he could be funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like you've seen him in more serious movies, right? Like or in action movies too. Lethal Weapon, Color Purple, and thinking of another movie he was in. He's more of like a serious actor. John Witherspoon, although John Witherspoon could do a serious movie in his prime, but he's a comedian too, right? So I would see him better suited for the Wayans Brothers show, because it's a comedic show. It's not a
Danny Glover has been in some comedic films, but his comedy is more like, when he's in those films, his is more deadpan. Yeah. So it's like, I'm too old for this shit. And you laugh because of what just happened. But for the Wayans brother, as physical as the physical comedy that him and Sean would do, and he said anything we threw out there, John was able to ricochet and keep it going. Right? And so you got John Witherspoon taking his belt off and chasing him. Like, so he was perfect for the physical comedy. And who else was going to give us Make Your Love Go Bang, Bang, Bang? Like, who else was going to give us that? Though your love.
I liked him. Bang, bang. So what was it? It was Friday. Friday? Yeah, Friday. I mean, that's classic.
Yes.
Class. There's this guy. He's on social media. He would imitate John Witherspoon, and it's funny. Rest in peace to John Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Too.
Boondocks. You talk about Granddad.
Boondocks. How could I?
You got your ass whipped by a blind man, Granddad. Shout out to Regina King playing two voices. Like, come on now.
I mean, that's
two little boys at that.
They need to bring back that show, but like, I don't want them to bring him back and mess it up.
No. Well, if you've ever heard John Witherspoon's son, his son imitates his voice perfectly. Yeah. Perfectly. But I would say, instead of bringing back Granddad, what if Granddad, we pay homage to Granddad, that he actually passed away on the show. Like, because he's their grandfather. Yeah. And what if the boys go to live with their grand aunt, who's Granddad's sister, who has the same kind of personality as grandpa or granddad because they grew up in the same household. And I want that sister, their aunt, to be Jennifer Lewis. I feel like she would be the perfect, either her or Loretta Devine. Those two voices. Yeah, I could hear them being the grand aunt that the boys go live with. But Jennifer Lewis is my first choice if that ever happened. I could see that.
Hey, Aaron, what's his last name? Zigman?
Aaron, oh my gosh, Magruder.
Aaron Magruder. Hey, look, man. You got, $1 million game right there. Yeah. Somebody will pick it up, I promise.
Or you can call Evelyn LeTeshia. She does voiceover work as well.
And K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. I played Dr. Feelgood in my new Pixar movie. Look, so, hey.
I can be cashier number 3 when Riley comes in. Like, what you want, little boy?
Yeah.
Like let me, come on now.
Yeah, come on, let's make this happen. That was a good show. Very good show. Very good.
Like, imagine if Boondocks was on right now. All this stuff going on.
Yes. Unfiltered Boondocks.
Unfiltered. Like, not politically correct. And
we need the raw, back in the day Boondocks when they could say whatever and write it whatever on the show, and we have a good laugh.
Yeah,
my parents watched it every night, every new episode, and it sucks because we were young, so like we couldn't watch it because my parents like, all right, we're about to watch our show. Y'all need to go to bed.
Need to go to bed.
And we wanted to see it because it was like when we were kids, like it's a cartoon. It's an anime.
No, it's beyond a cartoon, baby.
But it was like, no, you can't watch this. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, so. And I would just hear them laugh. My parents laugh at each episode, and we would just be in bed because we couldn't watch it.
Yeah,
I don't know, but John Witherspoon, I would say he's gone too soon.
Yeah, but he left us with some classics. Oh, but yes,
I did a live stream last week. Y'all can check that out. I did a whole spiel about James Earl Jones because gone too soon. But Marlon Wayans, he is in his prime. Shout out to him. You're worth the $40,000, honestly, in my opinion.
More.
And it's true because I talk about Joe Budden podcast a lot, but they did a segment about this, and Joe was like, "Hey, Marlon, I got you $40,000. If you want to come on up here, that's still on the table." Yeah. Marlon, go on the Joe Budden podcast.
Well, you know what though? Now you've done Club Shay Shay. You know what was it? Fat Joe said today's price is not yesterday's price. That 40,000 might have went up a little bit. Yeah, but they see the return on investment in the Club Shay Shay. He's worth it. Like, look at all that great jewels that we got out of Club Shay Shay. That's not even, like, this man's been in the business for over 30 plus years. He got way more stories. Yeah. So it's not like if somebody else brings them on their platform, just yet, that they're going to get the same exact stories. Like, he even kept saying in Club Shay, he's like, man, I got so many stories. And to that, I say, Marlon, if you ever want to come on our show, we can give you a hot cooked meal. I cooks. 40,000 ain't going to happen right now. Right now. But we're going to treat you well, my brother. We're going to give you reverence. Let you talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. Shout out to the Wayans brothers for sure.
Shout out to the Wayans brothers.
Now, a lot of content has been streaming. A lot of news have been watching. And we all watched it. The presidential debate. Now, we're not going to go so much political into the presidential debate. We'll let you guys have your own opinions about, who won the debate, who whooped who, because we're not a political show. We'll let y'all do that on that end, on the audience end. But, Evelyn, you posed a question here about it, and it was a nice little twist. President debate and whether AI is a blessing or an incoming curse as live truth gets more and more distorted. And to answer that question, yes and no. I say yes because I love AI.
Yeah, AI has some benefits.
Yeah.
But once the boundaries of those benefits are pushed to beyond the limits of what we had set forth, then we get into a new precedence of that curse I was talking about. Yes. And this is how the presidential debate comes into play. During the presidential debate, there were questions asked by the moderators. And certain things they had to fact check because on live TV, we heard some lies. I ain't going to say from which side or other. Y'all got to go watch it. But there were lies that had to be fact checked. And there were even times when the moderators had to say, well, you said this on live. I said that. And so when I talked about the AI, I said, right now, we can see live videos and this and that, but what happens when now all of a sudden, even people listen to this podcast, you could take somebody's voice and create a whole like audio that they never said.
Yep.
You can take,
scary.
you can take a picture and put somebody in a picture somewhere, or take somebody out of a picture. Now you're talking about evidence tampering with court cases. Not to get y'all too much in my business, but I divorced back in 2015, and there's specific receipts I had that I took to court that the judge didn't have to go through too many. He saw a couple of pictures, and he was like, I'm going to grant you the divorce. Now we're in this big boom of AI. What if they had, we got to check to make sure these ain't AI and do all this other stuff, and then I would have been in limbo for a year waiting to be divorced, whereas it happened in 3 months. So that's the question I posed, because the more we get deeper into this AI thing, truth almost seems like it's becoming obsolete, and that you can create reality instead of reality actually happening.
Yes.
Like you can say, oh, so-and-so said this, and you can add a audio of their voice, put them in a video or in a picture or whatever, and send it out to the masses, and it be taken as face value of the truth.
It's quite scary.
Yeah, it's very scary.
In that scale,
yeah. It's helped in certain things, like creating synopsis or writing something or writing down thoughts when you ask, hey, can you give me something on this, and it automatically generates that. So but
for the photographer, for one scene, I just couldn't write the scene. I didn't know how to write it. AI. Like, hey, can you twist this? Well, here's what I got. Here's the script. Can you make it just a hair better? And it did.
And with AI and artificial intelligence in general, like in robots and stuff, I'm like, don't we have movies that show how bad this can go?
Yeah.
Like, got iRobot and the Terminator.
But have you seen what's this? John David Washington, the creator.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh my God.
What is it on?
Where is it on? I think it's on Apple.
Okay.
And John David Washington, the phenomenal actor, by the way. He remarks from his dad, Denzel Washington. This movie is about AI, and he was a human, but he fell in love with somebody who was real, but then she died, and then he converted himself into part AI, part human. But then he finds this child that was created by his girlfriend, but he didn't know, because it was weird, because he created this child, but he didn't know that he created this child, and the child's an AI form, like she's fully AI. And I think him being part AI, part human, they fell in love somehow, and then now like there's like a secret. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can.
I think it's from you explaining it, I'm pretty sure I've seen this trailer. Now that you say it,
it's so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go watch it.
It is really dabbling into like the AI verse of it, and it just kind of gives us the first take of it, and then towards the end, it was a sad ending. I don't want to spoil it too much, but just go see it. And then the next episode we talk about, I'll ask you about it. But in movies, we see an iRobot. What was the other one you said?
The Terminator movies.
Terminator, and now the creator.
Yeah.
AI is real, and for films, it kind of scares me too, because I think AI is going to make movies.
And that's the portion of when SAG and the writer unit, all the stuff was on strike. That came up because there were points where some of these production companies, big studios, wanted to take extras and want them to sign their image away in perpetuity. It's just like, so you can duplicate, you can pay me once, but use my image in all kind of movies that anything you want, and you never have to pay me again. And so now you're talking about taking away work from actors. You're talking about taking away content from writers who are writing, these stories and things like that. That's going to completely change the game if they're ever greenlit and given the green light on to be able to do that. So we fought very hard against that.
Do you think we're ever going to have like a podcast radio strike? Because Will.i.am went on the Breakfast Club one time and he introduced radio.ai, and it's AI radio.
Yeah.
I'm scared. because-
Yeah, and I'm like, why have we gotten so much in this space where we want to take away the arts?
Yeah.
The arts is what always like kind of grounded our humanity in things and also showcase the creativity amongst us, like
Right.
that could bring people together and all that kind of stuff. It's like we're trying to get further and further away from authentic art and creativity.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
That's
like,
true.
why y'all trying to take our work?
I don't know. I have no idea. AI is here, and it is scary. And I think AI is going to be, especially because we've got a long 2 months. We're in September, October, and in November you start voting who you want for the next
I
president.
think it's
So
like 54 days or something like that left. I'm like, whoo,
it
child,
is
y'all
going
can't
to
get
be a
fast enough.
rough 2 months with opinions and thoughts, and there's going to be a lot of AI topics of conversation when it comes down to it. It's nervousome because AI can make that reality, right? They make the reality for something that Trump maybe didn't say, but hey, AI said that you said it because we created it. The same thing with Kamala, right?
Yeah.
You can create anything and have her voice and say anything, and then you have to kind of be careful because it goes out in the media, and some people believe it, right?
Yeah.
If it's AI
Yeah.
and it's out there, people are going to be like, "Oh, she said that."
Yeah. There's
fact check?
people who
That's
don't
AI,
there's
you know?
people who don't fact check for themselves in general, and then you got other people who are just almost like a cult that they have created this god, and no matter what you say or do, they believe that everything this person says is truthful, and they're not going to sway from it. They'll give their new firstborn for it, and I'm like, that's scary.
That
The
is so
times that
scary.
we're living in. I'm so ready for this election to be over with.
Me too.
But I'm also kind of just being on standby caution for the election because I feel like no matter which way it goes, there's gonna be a group on either side that's gonna be highly upset, and we've already seen that certain people, when they get upset, could become violent. And so, like, I hope that doesn't happen. But democracy, as we know it, is on the ballot.
Yeah, it is.
For
It
this
is.
election.
It's gonna be an
Can't
interesting
tell
one.
you who to vote for. I will not tell you who to vote for,
Nope.
but I will tell you that many people have fought for us to have democracy in this country, and that voting
Voting's
is a
important.
privilege, and it's important, and you should take that privilege and please utilize it.
Yeah. I also think to a lot of viewers, a lot of our audience, voting is important. So I will say, I don't care who you vote for. Just go out there and vote. I also think a lot of people, it's an uncomfortable conversation when people ask who you vote for, who you vote for. So one thing that I'm gonna do this year is, yes, obviously I'm gonna vote, but then I'm not gonna tell you who I vote for.
You don't
If
have
ask
to tell
me
people
who you vote for. I was like, I'm sorry, that's kind of private.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep that as a private thing because it just alleviates uncomfortable conversations.
And I'm not about to sit here and have a whole 2-hour conversation with you about why I'm voting for the person I'm voting for.
You're right.
Like, right, and even if somebody tells you they're voting for somebody, once you get into that place where you don't put your little ballot in, people could change their vote in that thing, and you never know.
Yeah.
So asking that question to people is just redundant.
It's very redundant. So,
Like, vote for who you want to vote for and mind your business.
Yeah.
that's the
who you
easiest
vote
thing
for?
to do.
That's private. Can we talk about something else?
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss that. That's kind of private. It's like asking, what's your social security number?
Yeah.
Maybe not. That's probably not safe. But like, no, that's private.
Or asking people, when y'all gonna have kids?
Yeah.
Do you want to know our sex schedule too? Like, y'all ask too many questions.
Yeah, you wanna
Live
know
your
my
life.
Supplements I take. You want to know how I take a shower? Like, come on.
Whoopsie.
So you just got to be careful. So I say to a lot of people, when you do vote, you don't have to express yourself who you voted for. You don't have to. You do if you do. If you do tell people who you vote for, that's on you. But get ready for those uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
Because I've had quite a few uncomfortable conversations with friends that ask, "Hey, who you vote for?" And it led to a whole argument. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
So
that and I was gonna say, oh Lord, I lost my train of thought. I looked dead at you. I was about to say what I was gonna say. Maybe it'll come back.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I vote for Tom Kirkman. Have you seen Designated Survivor?
I have not.
So it's a show on Netflix. It's Designated Survivor. It's about this character, Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay.
He plays this character called Tom Kirkman, and there's there's a explosion at the White House, or no, the Capitol building, and the president, the vice president, they were doing a vote event, and then they died. And so Tom Kirkman was this development speaker of urban development, but he was the last man standing. He was the survivor, so he got appointed as president. And then he's become the president of the United States because he survived from the horrific event. So it's a running joke that me and my friends have. Like, hey, we're voting for Tom Kirkman. Yeah, he's a fiction. He's not real. He's
I have to go watch that.
But it's a good show. It's on Netflix. Yeah, it's a very good show. It's one of them shows that just like it's Maggie Q's in it, and it's like I like shows that are just like smart shows. Like if it's just like got you think like kind of like The Industry, as I beat up my mic here. Yes, The Industry, right? That type of show. It's a smart show. Like, shows like that are just so smart, and it happens in real life, and then it gets you thinking. It's not a bunch of craziness that people just write it. It's not real, but it's good shows. Yeah. You said you watched it? Industry?
I started Industry. Right. I started late one night. I said, "Oh, I want to watch something." I said, "Hold on." Kennedy said Industry, so I started it. I'm still on episode 1 because then life just got real busy after I watched that one episode. Or started that one episode, but so far I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. Yeah,
I like the characters. So I told my friends, because I think they're based off in London. I'm going to either London, London, Paris, or Elite, one of those Europe type countries. My 30th birthday, I'm going over there. Okay. I'm going over there. I tell my friends, like, hey, if you want to come with me, it's gonna be a bag and a check, right? It's gonna cost you some money. But if you want to come on over to Europe, I'm going to Europe.
And to any potential sponsors out there, if you want to sponsor Kennedy's 30th birthday, you can go ahead and fly us out there. Nice hotel. Breakfast and meals included and all that kind of stuff. We'll gladly, take it.
We'll do it. We can
come live from London.
Yeah,
you got 2 years.
So before my dirty 30. So but shows like
they dirty child.
I know. I'm scared. But I'm very, very excited for that. Shows that are just so smart, and it's just like, unfortunately, I think Netflix canceled it.
Oh man,
Netflix canceled.
Netflix is good for getting a good series. You be like, gotcha, bitch.
You didn't hit the number. We did. You were great success, but the numbers ain't there. I'm sorry, I gotta pull.
Oh, they have great numbers, and they just pull it. I'm like, I'm starting to think that Netflix got this thing where they'll put you in a contract, and if you hit a certain number, they got to like up the contract, so they pull it right before you hit that number. That's what I'm starting to think, because y'all be pulling some of the greatest shows. I'm like,
greatest shows out there.
Yeah,
I'm very sad about it. And then you had Adam Canto. He plays Aaron Shore. It was sad. I learned. I think he died about 2 months back, and I was just like, oh wow, like because he was young actor. Good actor too. So good show. Yeah. Disney inspired. I'm voting for Tom Kirkman.
Yeah. No, another good show. I think I told you about this on Netflix. Not Netflix, Hulu. Because I kept seeing it advertised on Facebook for season 2. Yeah. Reasonable Doubt. I kept seeing this clip of Morris Chestnut, and I can't think of the actress' name who played the main character, Jax. But I kept seeing this clip on Facebook, and they're talking about, this is season 2, and people kept talking about it. Like, oh, this is a good show. So I went on Hulu. Right. And I watched, season 1. Great season. Interesting. And so now season 2 is up, and I think I'm on episode 3. Y'all, this show is freaking amazing. I love it. Like, first of all, the melanated bodies and black people that's involved in it, I'm like, and the storyline is so good.
So it's not a sci-fi. It's
not a sci-fi. Oh, it's not a sci-fi. Jax is and her real name I think is Jacqueline, but everybody call her Jax. And she's a lawyer. She's a criminal defense lawyer. And so you get to see her do her job, but also her personal life, the things her and her husband are going through in their separation, her kids are going through. You learn a little bit about some of her childhood trauma in the first season and how she's dealing with that. And now in the second season, she's dealing with one of her friends is on trial, was about to go on trial for murder. Oh. And so, and she brings in Morris Chestnut's character to be, like, the lead on the case, and she's going to be second chair. because she's so close to the friend.
Yeah, so the conflict.
Yeah, so you're learning all this amazing stuff. It is a great show. If y'all got a chance to see it, it's on Hulu. It's called Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt on Hulu.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Yeah.
I'll cook me some dinner.
Child.
And maybe on the next live stream, I'm gonna do a review.
all that.
Stay tuned for that. So you ready? Now you ready for Elephant in the Room before we wrap today's show? And let me tell you,
this a big elephant, y'all.
This is the biggest one because this kind of grossed me out because we were in the studio. Dude, so behind the scenes to a lot of people, we plan for the show before we start recording this stuff, so we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So Evelyn,
talking about the topics are pretty like live, but we
Right.
come up with the topics based off of current events and stuff that's going on in social media and in the news.
Yes. So let me play the drop
Some
here
of
real
y'all
quick.
might know this, and some of y'all don't.
Hey,
It is now time for the elephant in the room. K.L.P.
and Evelyn.
The biggest elephant today.
Oh, that's
I gotta get your I gotta get your tag in there. I
I tried to do an elephant and came out a horse.
What?
Not the name.
Hey, that's the elephant.
Oh,
Yeah,
I gotta work on that.
I gotta get a tag in there for
It's
you.
Evelyn
I will. I'm
LeTeshia.
gonna work on that. So elephant of the room goes out to this guy.
Yes.
Let me tell you. I will say this to my gentlemen. Please be careful. Having and one of my fears, right? Snakes, failure, and any kind of sexual transmitted disease on your business. That scares me to death because I've seen it. I've seen the videos, right? We work in medical care, so I've seen some things. So there's this man out there on social media. What was his name?
I can't remember his name.
Can't remember the
He's
name.
out of Alabama, Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama. He goes on social media, and
Cedric Ramsey.
Cedric Ramsey puts his business, literally his business,
His literal
on social
business.
media. And I got grossed out when I saw the video. Now he's exposing this young lady. By what's the young lady?
I'm not gonna call her name. I'm gonna call his name because
Yeah.
he went to social media, not her.
Not her. Okay.
But if you see the video, he calls her name and her phone number.
and
out
her phone
completely.
number, which is to me that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you called me because I almost like, what's her name? No, we ain't gonna put her on.
Her name is.
Her name is Sally Sue. But he puts out his whole business out there on social media about this young man has a HIV, yes. But all sorts of things on his business, and it's out there on social media. I'm surprised it's not flagged, honestly.
Yeah, and for some of y'all who are not fast, when he says his business, he's talking about his man part
Yes.
below.
His
That's what he's
man
talking
pots
about.
is the holy grail below, right?
Yeah.
The magic key to the magic
I had
kingdom.
to say that for the not fast people.
Yeah. And it freaked me out because we're in this society where after seeing that video, I almost puked. How did this man go to the bathroom? Does it itch? You can't. Does it get like if he works out and you're wearing gym shorts? Do you see it be bumpy and all that on your, on your visuals there? And the question is, opening it to the audience is, obviously I know the answer to this. He was wrong to expose this young lady out there on social media, but I think a lot of people don't know the aspects of it, right?
Yeah.
Because typically, he was saying this young lady would have a sexual intercourse. We're very careful with our words here on this platform, where she would go down to get the magic key,
Oral pleasure.
for pleasure, and people are bashing this young lady about, oh, she's nasty, oh, she's gross. We talked about it, fact checking. Is it true? Because really, you would have warts or any kind of disease on the mouth if that's something that she's doing.
If she was doing that, you would think at some point
Yeah.
she would develop some of this inside of her mouth or on her lips and things like that. But this is why I say be careful with who you decide to be intimate with, Not just that they look good, not just that they got a good big package on them, or it's all nice and cute, stuff like that. But check their temperament while you're with them. Have you seen them upset? When they get upset, do they become petty? Do they have emotional intelligence? Because those are the type of people that once you have intimacy with them and intercourse and all that kind of stuff, if they're the type that's petty and don't have any emotional intelligence, are they going to go on social media and try to expose you? Because I see people in the comments like, oh, she nasty for sucking on that and doing this. But I'm like, all y'all are going off of is his word. You have nothing, you have heard nothing from her. He comes across as very bitter. I don't know what happened. To me, it's something happened, whether she left him, whether he caught her cheating with somebody, I don't know. But it comes across as I'm exposing you because I'm hurt. I lack emotional intelligence. I'm coming to the web to do this thing. And people are running with it just because he said it's true. With no proof, people have already said, oh, she's nasty for doing it. She done. Like, if she is doing it, yes, you hella nasty. Yeah. But off face value of him just saying she's doing it doesn't mean it's true. But what we do know is true because he showed it to us. Yeah. The genitalia is effed up.
It's gray. It's like gray and white and black. Ugh. You can't even make out. So when I saw it, I didn't know that was his business. Yeah, right? It didn't look like it at first, but then when he, I'm like, oh, that's his junk. That's his the key there. What's that?
And talk about elephant in the room. It definitely wasn't an elephant trunk. It was kind of small. Yeah, it was. It wasn't a trunk.
No.
I said maybe he's a grower.
Ain't nothing
wrong with growers.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but like...
I mean, it's not my ministry, but... ain't nothing wrong with growers.
Yeah. So, I would say to my gentlemen, please have decorum, have respect. Don't put people... First of all, don't put people out on blast.
Yeah, because he put her name and her phone number out there.
And phone number. That's very... Honestly, this young lady could sue. Right? Honestly, that young lady has a lawsuit. Yeah. If you think about it, because that is, what's that word?
Defamation.
There it is, defamation. So she could sue him for defamation, right? Will she do it? We don't know. Yeah. Phone numbers are very private. I tell my friends, please do not give my number out to a whole lot of people, right? You have my private number.
That's why I have to give me a Google number.
Either that or like a group me that's not associated with my physical number. Yeah. I say that to my friends. I say it to my colleagues. If there's clients, we don't give my personal number unless I give them my personal number, right? So big no for a lot of gentlemen out there. I do say to a lot of gentlemen and women in this equation, wrap it up. Safe sex is the best sex. It is, right? Because there are a lot of sexual transmitted diseases that will hurt you and will kill you, right? So you have to be careful. And to have you're going to the bathroom, you burning, that's not a fun feeling. Yeah. I don't know personally. I just I read the story.
Burning, like certain discharge and smell. Yeah. And learn, like, one thing I wish that they didn't take out of schools. A lot of schools don't have, sex ed anymore. So you got grown people out here in 2024 still saying things like, oh, well, she didn't look like she had nothing. Like, STDs are still very much prevalent. Yes. And we have a lack of teaching and knowledge, even amongst grown people. People know how to go out there and have sex, but they don't even know about their own genitalia. Yeah. Like, I've seen on, there was a gentleman one time, I guess he got mad at his girlfriend. Again, low emotional intelligence, got mad at his girlfriend, goes on social media showing her panties. He's like, see, look at the seat of her panties. And it had like white stains and stuff like that. Sir, if you took any kind of sexual ed and actually learned the female anatomy, you would know that the vagina area, we secrete discharge just normally, and it's acidic. Yeah. So anytime we wear any kind of colored panties, over time, it will fade it. It will literally bleach it. So you would have white spots in the seat of your pants. So he came across looking foolish. So all the women are in the comment section going, fool. Like, you thought you was doing something. You thought you did your big sisters. One. And
I have two sisters.
And then the men who did know it were able to check him too. Like, that's normal.
Yeah, it is.
But the thing is, we got so many adults out here who don't know their bodies, who don't know the people's bodies that they're having sex with. So they'll get on there and say things like that. You know, most people saw a man that was making fun of this is one of them Twitter X links.
Yeah.
That I be clicking on.
Yeah.
X. One of them links. Anyway, he shared one of these links, and it was a young lady giving another young lady some oral, and she was, the lady that she was giving oral to, her clitoris was enlarged, and it being enlarged looked like a small penis, right? Most people, if you don't know the female anatomy, the clitoris during, sexual encounter, when it's aroused, it swells. Mm-hmm. Some women, it may not swell to the point where it's protruding. And other women, it will protrude, and sometimes protrude to the point where it looks like a little penis. But if you don't know the women's bodies that you're laying with, you will use that to come on social media and try to dog somebody. Yeah. And all it shows is your lack of sexual immaturity and sexual knowledge. And so I'm telling everybody who is listening to this podcast, please make sure you're getting tested. Yes. Please make sure you're checking in and learning about your own body as well as the person's body that you're having sex with. There's so much knowledge out here that you need to be getting, and not just from y'all sitting around passing the blunt, talking about what you think you know, or what your uncle from 30 years ago told you that he didn't know either. Yeah. And y'all just passing out misinformation. It's important.
It is so important.
Like, I be darned. I tell people all the time, I don't made it in my 30s. I ain't never had a UTI. I ain't never had an STD. I ain't never had none of that. I'd be darned if I wait now to try to get that.
Oh, no. I'm good. I'm good.
Baby, I like not burning.
Nah.
And oozing different colors.
I like using the bathroom. And I say to a lot of people, too, men and women, is a thing for me. Drink plenty of water.
Plenty of water.
When your urine comes out super clear, it's such a healthy thing. You'd be surprised. A lot of people, bright yellow.
Yeah. Sunny delight.
Yeah, like
just thick.
Drink some water, because that is a health thing too.
Very
to
much.
Avoid not only kidney stones, but like when your pee is clear, you feel.
When you're well hydrated, your body organs function at their capacity for the most part.
Right. So, like I say, wrap it up. Shame on you. What's his name again?
Cedric Ramsey.
Cedric Ramsey. Shame on you, man.
Yeah.
You foolish for that. Now, when you in, I don't know, you probably don't need to be dating, because you got a big problem.
Yeah. Huge problem. And this is the thing. As much as he tried to put her on Front Street, sir, if she was sucking on that, I highly doubt anybody else who's seen it now wants to suck on it. Yeah. So if she was, you just lost your best eater.
Yeah. Because nobody.
Because now, if anybody, they got to have a fetish. Yeah. A pretty gruesome kink fetish to want to suck on that. Yeah. Like, you thought you did something, your big one, by exposing her, but you just lost your...
fungus.
Whoopsie. That's going to be our new caller now.
Yeah. I got to do a bug or a drop with that one, too. Nasty. Y'all, so we're going to wrap it up, this podcast here today.
Wrap it
Evelyn, up. It's been a great one. This one's been kind of funny.
It was. Look, we got more coming. We got more coming.
More coming, y'all. Thank y'all so much for staying tuned for the podcast last week and this week as well. Many more to come.
Many.
If you're watching this on any audio platform, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, I think I'm forgetting all the major platforms. Yeah. Thank y'all so very much. And if you're watching it on Amazon.com, shoppable videos with Amazon Live, we're going to upload the episodes there, so that way you guys can shop for this exact mic, this exact stand, the light kits, my MacBook over here, right? The Rode mixer system. All of this is going to be as a shareable link for Amazon.com, so you can get your shopping on. If you'd like to start your own podcast journey, you guys can shop the shoppable links and get your podcast started today. And it's so much fun, so I recommend it to a lot of people. Yeah. Evelyn, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine.
And of course, stay tuned, guys, for next week's episode. We'll be back here in the studio for another episode. Until then, have a great rest of your week, Atlanta. Stay swanky.
Deuces.
Peace.
Go! What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. Then K.L.P in the morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.